All right, again, everybody, my name is Justin White here. I'm a one-star platinum consultant with Archer and Evolution. Been doing this for about 5 months and wanted to help everybody with kind of the steps to go through once you bring on an agent, kind of the next steps to getting started. So this is not really how to bring on agents, but what do you do once you've actually brought somebody on? So this training was designed to help you understand what to do when someone is interested in becoming a travel agent. Please keep in mind each team may have a different recommendations, steps to getting started, or documents they request that you use for team building. So I do recommend you reach out to your platinum or gold consultant to ask them about their team's specific recommendations, because everybody may be a little bit different on that part. This is simply a guide to help you understand the process to getting started. I've created this to help pick up where Team Building 101 with Marnie leaves off, and request that you attend that session first before continuing with this training, just because, like I said, it does kind of pick up where that takes off. So let's talk about getting started. So this will be inviting someone to the presentation. So what you want to do is you want to send potential agents a few upcoming days and times for the presentations. It is not recommended to actually send out the entire calendar. It's more recommended to send out just a few times, days and times, to see what works best for those potential agents, and then schedule based on what their needs are and what works best for them on that part. If you use Calendly, we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Once they confirm a day and time, you want to send them that Zoom ID and the passcode for the webinar. You want to make sure that you send them a reminder text and emails to ensure they attend the presentation. You also want to follow up with agents after the presentation has ended. Be sure that you are texting, your email, and maybe your phone calling. Make sure you follow up with those agents after the presentation. I know there's been times, especially today, I've had a few people reach out to me saying some of my agents said that they were not hearing back from me. And that's just because I've been busy on that part, especially trying to vacation some. So you definitely want to make sure that you're following up with them. If you're not getting a response at all, you may even give them a call just to make sure that they're getting that message. Some additional tips and tricks. If you need a copy of the presentation calendar, make sure you ask your sponsor, Gold or Platinum leader. They usually have team building chats that we can get you added to as well. Each team, again, is a little bit different, but usually there is a team builders chat that we can get you into, and that's usually where that presentation calendar is posted every day. So make sure that you go in there and you're engaged and actively following that. Do not go into details regarding the opportunity. Again, less is more. Let the presenter do the work. So when you're inviting somebody to the presentation, what I've learned is the more information you give, the less likely that you're going to have somebody actually sign up, because you're not the person doing the presentation. You don't have all that information, and you've not worked through the process and kind of been doing these trainings over and over and over. It's a lot easier for a presenter. As an example, like Marnie does a lot of presentations, and I usually get a lot of signups with her presentations. She's been doing this for 5 years, though. She knows what she's talking about. She believes in the product, and she has those slides to help her through the process. Plus, she has that personal experience that she can help share with people as well. Make sure you utilize a program such as Calendly to help with scheduling. Calendly does offer a free trial, I believe it's maybe 10 or 14 days. I highly recommend, if you are on a job board of some sort, to invest in the Calendly, just because it can be really overwhelming if you get a lot of people reaching out to you at one time and you're trying to schedule everything. So I do recommend having some type of resource on that part that you can actually go through and set up. Make sure you also attend various presentations with different hosts. Every host, every presenter is different. There's some that are stronger than others, and they are all volunteers. So, please be patient with everybody, especially because they are volunteering their time. They're not getting paid for these presentations, but I do highly recommend to attend each presenter's presentation yourself personally, so you get a feel for each one, because each one kind of works a little bit differently. And there may be one that you tend to like a little bit more than another one just because of your personality. Also, you want to make sure you attend the presentation as well during the presentation where you've invited somebody. It looks a lot better when that agent that you invited is on the webinar as well as you, and allows you to see who actually joined. So as an example, if you invite a couple of people, you can actually go through that presentation. You can look at the participants list, and you can actually kind of check off who's actually showing up that you invited and who did not, so you can kind of get a gauge on that part. Also, it looks a lot better when that person that you invited to the presentations looking through those participants and they see you on there as well. Again, make sure you follow up with potential signups immediately after the presentation. Me personally, I use an app on my phone called Reach. Reach, I know, is on the App Store. I don't believe it's on Samsung or Google, but I know it's on the App Store for iPhones. I use that. It is a monthly fee, I think, of $5 or $6 per month. But what that allows me to do is I can send out multiple texts very quickly to people so that I can quickly follow up as soon as the presentation's over. What I normally do is I use Calendly to send a follow-up email 1 minute after the hour of the presentation. And then I also will send out those texts literally as soon as that host says on the presentation, whoever is ready to sign up, please let me know right now. Say I'm ready in the chat box. I am texting that message out to people. So I'm getting them literally as soon as they're interested in signing up. Where do you find your sign up link? So we got a couple different places. So whenever you're in your back office, here's the two places you can go to find your sign up link. And this is a question I get a lot, asked a lot from my agents as well. There's two different places you can go to. If you click on, you log into your back office, click on enroll an agent, that's going to be that website link that you're going to send out to somebody that's interested in signing up. You can also personally test it, and I always recommend doing that the first few times by clicking on it and just kind of going through the process and making sure your name and your agent ID number actually show up. And we'll look at that in just a second as well. So this is a sign up email that I actually will send out whenever somebody's interested in signing up. So of course I welcome them aboard, talk about we're excited to hear you'll be joining our team, try to get that excitement carried over from that presentation, and just provide a little basic information. I talk to them about entering a username and password that will be emailed to them, talk to them about the company section, just leaving that blank. Keep in mind that company field, that's for people that have an LLC or an established business that they want to sign up with. The downfall with that is if you sign up as an LLC or as a business, your Archer's Errors and Omissions does not cover you. That insurance does not cover you. So if they do not already have a licensed LLC or business, I highly recommend people just sign up their social so that they are covered under those errors and omissions insurance. Then I would have my sign up link right there with your agent ID number at the very end. Then I ask them to just follow up with me basically after they've signed up, just so I can help them get started with the next steps and so forth as well. Also, I remind them about that 10-day money-back guarantee to try to help ease any concerns that they may still have prior to signing up. All right, so this is the sign up link. This is that next step I was talking about earlier. If you look at the very top, and I know it's kind of small, so I do apologize. I'll try to fit it all on one slide. You have your sponsor ID. That is where your sponsor ID number shows up. And then you'd have your name to the right of it. That's what you want to make sure whenever you're clicking on enroll an agent in your back office, that's what you want to make sure is filled out. This is exactly what your new agents, just like you filled out when starting, would get. You want to make sure that the sponsor number, ID number, and name is correct in the box. Leave the company section blank if you're signed up with your social again. Here's some common mistakes they are starting with the process. One of the mistakes is the box isn't checkmarked, verifying their sponsor ID. And you can look at that very top. Please review your sponsor information. They have to check that box. Another one is the personal web address that they requested is already in use. That's another one that happens quite often. Also, keep in mind when you're talking to people about their personal web address, this can be changed later on. So if anybody ever wants to change this, all you got to do is message the chat box in the back office and they can get this updated for you. What I always tell people when they're signing up and they're like, well, I just don't know what name to call myself yet, I just tell them try maybe their first and last name and then change it later on once they come up with a name. Another issue that they have is using an unsupported web browser. Google Chrome, I've learned, is the best. I have been able to do this on Safari with my MacBook most of the time. But again, I've learned some people are having trouble signing up, and it's sometimes just that web browser. Error messages usually show up in red above the sponsor ID section. This can be easily overlooked. If there's any issues with someone signing up, please make sure that you're asking them if there's any error messages above that section. A lot of people overlook that area just because they're looking at the bottom, they're trying to figure out what's going wrong, or they're trying to see in that area where the red is, and they overlook that top part. So please make sure that you follow up with them on that part. So this is the welcome email or the text message that I'll send out to people, and you're welcome to use this as well. Talk about this as their training step checklist. I'll also put in here that there is no deadline. These steps are simple steps, are to help you get started, and you can complete them at your own pace. I always emphasize that just because I feel like a lot of new agents, when they come on board, they're trying to rush to get everything done as soon as possible, and they don't have to. They can literally take their time through the process. Step one, I usually say, is a travel training program in the back office. Again, that gets them their certification to where they can actually begin registering for vendors and booking travel. Step two, I ask them to register for access to your team's website. Make sure, if you don't know your team's website already, that you get that information from your sponsor or your Gold or Platinum leader. And then I also say attend a new agent orientation, and you can obtain that Zoom information from your mentor. For that, some people utilize Calendly for that as well. You can use that, or you can send them their calendar. What I've learned with most new agents is if you can get them on a new agent orientation within the first couple of days, usually they're set up for success and they feel comfortable. Anything past that first couple of days, you're starting to lose the interest, or the agent's starting to kind of feel overwhelmed. So the sooner you can get them into that new agent orientation, the better on that part. Another thing that I ask them to do that's not on here, this is just personal preference, is I have them add me on social media, on a Facebook, so that I can get them into our team chat. When they do that, I also ask for them to message me their agent ID number, simply so that I can verify that that is a person, because I know sometimes they'll sign up with one name and their Facebook profile is completely different. So some additional tips that I've learned over the time. To help encourage new agents to complete the training and attend the new agent orientations, make sure that you are encouraging that. Ensure they have access to the Facebook groups and the Messenger so that they can ask questions, or if they need help, they have access for that information. Have them sign up for the Evolution and Corporate Text Alert. That can be found in your back office. It's just a number that you text and get signed up for that. Offer them the ability to sign up for accountability partners. These are what Marnie does, and these offer. These are amazing on that part, because you get into small groups of other peers, other agents just like yourself, that's kind of within the same area, and then you hold each other accountable for reaching your goals that you set and reaching those milestones. Make sure you provide the link to the steps to success. We want people to complete those steps to success within the first 30 days. We want people to complete them, for one, because they're invested into the opportunity, but they're also earning that $49 back. Try to schedule them for a future Team Building 101 training. Again, I recommend everybody go into the Team Building 101 first. I know Matt does his own team building as well, and Matt's trainings are amazing as well. But I believe the Team Building 101 sets the foundation for how you kind of start team building and gets a better understanding of how that works. Remind them of the corporate training site. Inform them of the Q&A webinars. This is a great resource that I feel a lot of time is underutilized. A lot of people don't know about the Q&A webinars or overlook that. And I'll notice constantly in our group chats that people are asking questions right before or right after a Q&A webinar. And I always recommend going back to that Q&A webinar, because I don't know everything. But a lot of those agents that host that may have more experience on certain fields or aspects than I might. So they might provide a better resource than I would provide to begin with. Introduce them to your upline and leadership. Let them know who your leadership is, who your mentors are, your upline is, just to help get them engaged and give them another resource to reach out to for assistance. Create a checklist for them to follow when getting started, and celebrate their accomplishments. Again, I feel like this is sometimes overlooked. You want to make sure you get them on, you get them started, and then you kind of overlook them a lot of times, especially as you start building a big team. So you want to make sure that you don't do that. You want to make sure that you still stay in connection with them, contact with them, Celebrate their accomplishments, whether it's a small booking or a large booking. They're doing a booking, they're doing what you're training them to do, which is amazing. Also, follow up with your agents after joining, check in on them from time to time, just like I just said. All right. The famous "this is a pyramid scheme." So this is my response to the famous "this is a pyramid scheme" or scam or whatever you want to say it is. So I always ask people, what business organization isn't structured as a pyramid? I even ask them, if you're currently working, tell me how your business is structured, how the organization chart looks. If you look at the organizational chart for Walmart, Starbucks, McDonald's, churches, or literally any organization, is it not similar to this chart? You have basically one owner on top, you have two managers maybe below, maybe 3 to 5 supervisors, and then you have your line level employees. Your line level employees, the people on the very bottom, usually make the least amount of money. This to me is a typical pyramid scheme. The owner on the top makes the most money, while the people below do the majority of the work and don't really get the more money on that part. The difference with this opportunity, and this is what I tell people, is that you as a line level employee, the very bottom of the totem pole, can actually make more money than your supervisor or manager on top. That's where I feel the difference is on that part, is unlike most business, organizational, any type of a structural chart that you have here, you can actually make more money than the people above you. Me, Marnie is my mentor. She's my direct sponsor, got me into the business. I can technically make more money than Marnie can. Just like you, if you're below me on that part, you can make more money than me. That's the nice thing with this opportunity. Another question I get is, this is just an MLM or multi-level marketing. This is kind of my response to them on that part whenever I had that question come up. I always let people know, I re-emphasize, you are not required to recruit anyone. It's completely optional. Remember, we are a travel agency with access to an optional referral program, but it's not required. In most businesses, they offer a bonus or incentive for recommending someone to be hired, especially if they worked out after so many days. So I always ask people, what's the difference between an optional referral program that's not required and receiving a bonus or incentive for recommending someone at your current job to be hired? In addition, a traditional MLM company, you are basing your entire business on recruiting others and not offering any product or service. We are a fully licensed, bonded, and insured travel agency. I would say 80% of our agents solely book travel. That's what they do. The other percent is the ones that participate in that optional referral program, which is what most of you probably are interested in doing from attending this presentation. Another thing I like to do is team, together everyone achieves more. I do want to talk about that. When you first started, you probably remember how overwhelming it was at first, but look at what you've accomplished since you've joined. Keep this in mind when you are coaching and helping facilitate the learning process for your team members. Remember, as a team builder, your agents you bring on are looking up towards you for guidance and leadership. Try to always try to always work towards becoming an exceptional mentor within the organization, helping to support and lead your team to success. We are only as strong as our team when we work together. As always, your Gold Platinum leaders are here to assist as well. Some additional suggestions that I have: make sure you do not throw too much at agents or do not add them to too many messenger chats, especially at first. It can be overwhelming. I know some agents out there, some sponsors, do not add people to their messenger groups until they've completed certain numbers of steps, and that's completely optional. It's up to you on how you want to do that. The main thing is you just don't want to overwhelm these new agents. Just like whenever you first started, depending on who your sponsor was or your mentor, you might have felt overwhelmed on that part. So just keep that in mind when you're team building as well. Stay plugged in and continue attending the training. Try to learn as much as you can. And always work toward becoming an outstanding leader. Remember to access free materials and brochure marketing materials from the vendors. Join the Incentive Voucher Facebook group. This is something, again, that Marnie offers to us. She actually pays for this out of her pocket. It's an amazing way that you can actually help grow your business. I highly recommend, if you do not know what this is, make sure that you follow up after this with your sponsor or mentor. It's a great way that you can help market yourself as a travel agent and give away some vouchers to people that book with you. Order business cards. Make sure though, once you order those business cards, prior to doing that, that you are fully committed to your business name, email address, phone number. You don't want to purchase additional cards because you just want to change the company name, or maybe you weren't happy with the email address or the phone number. So I just highly recommend, just make sure that you're really committed to what you're going with before ordering those business cards. Try to always remain positive and avoid negative communications, especially in group chats. Again, we want to try to maintain that positive culture that we've created. And if you think back to the presentation, we talked about who this is perfect for. This is perfect for people who are positive, who are willing to help others. Same situation when you get in these group chats. If you don't get your answer the first time, ask again or go to your upline. Sometimes the questions can be overlooked unintentionally in those group chats. They are the easiest way that we can communicate with everybody usually, but there is times where you can overlook stuff just because there is so much information going into these chats. Let's talk about ranking up. So you are allowed 4 accounts, 2 with your social and 2 with an EIN or a business business number. Your sponsor, Go Leaders and or Platinum Leaders may have a different recommendations for each leg, but it's important to communicate with them to seek their guidance when team building. So this is just suggested. Again, make sure that you talk with your upline, just because everybody is a little bit different on this part. Once you reach at least 17 to 18 personal agents under your first account, it's recommended to proceed with signing up your second account, then start working towards building your second account to Silver. Again, Silver is 9 personal agents. At this point, if you have any team builders on your first account, help coach them and encourage them to continue building. The goal would be to help them reach Silver. However, if you do not have any team builders, then you may have to do all the team building on your own. That's kind of how I started. I had a couple of team builders, but I did not have many when I first started. Remember, when team building, to stay engaged, it doesn't matter how fast you bring in the agents if you lose them all within the first month or the following month on that part. You want to make sure that you're staying engaged with them so that you do not lose them. So let's talk about Quad Gold. So this is how you can reach Quad Gold, and just to give you a quick overview. So if you look at the very far left top corner, it says you and your first social security number sign up. Okay, that is your first account. At that point, you have the 12 agents below you, 12 plus agents below you. You sign up your second social security account on that part. Then you build that one up. You sign up your first EIN, you build that one up. You sign up your second EIN, you build that one up. And that's kind of where you get to it. Mainly what you want to do is, on your first account, you want to have 15 personal sponsors. So you have your second social as your first personal, you have your first EIN as your second personal, you have your second EIN as your third personal, and then I have 12 plus agents over here. So if you add those, that's 15. At that point, you are Gold qualified, meaning that you have 15 personal agents. At that point, what you want to do is you actually want to build upon these to make sure where you actually have 3 accounts that are at least a Silver agent. So if these 3, your second social, your first EIN, and your second EIN, if these 3 ranked up to Silver, at that point you would be considered Gold. Your first account would be considered Gold. At that point, what you want to do is you want to go to that second account, that second social that you created, and you want to start building upon that. Again, you need 3 legs of Silver, so 3 legs at 9, and then your other 12 agents to give you a total of 15 different legs. That would be double Gold. Do the same thing with your first EIN, that would be triple Gold. Do this same thing with your second EIN, now you are Quad Gold. That is how people reach Quad Gold. That's one way to do this. If you look at this, this is all doing it on your own, as if you had no team builders. As an example, if on my first social, let's say that this account right here, I had a team builder on that was team building right here, they could do all this work here, so I don't have to use that second EIN number for that account to reach Quad Code. It can get confusing on this part, but once you understand it, it's pretty easy. Just be sure to talk with your mentor, your sponsor, for additional questions on that. Make sure that as you begin team building, especially as you reach that 13, 14, 15 mark, that you are staying engaged with your mentor, because they can help guide you on what to do next and provide recommendations. Don't wait until you have 20 or 30 under your first account. Start having those conversations with them sooner. All right, so we'll have a Q&A session. I want to thank everybody for their time. Please remember, each sponsor, Gold, Platinum leaders may have different recommendations or suggestions for team building. We highly encourage everyone to reach out to these resources prior and during the team building process. Let them help you during this process. This training was created to simply provide a guide to the process. Again, this is completely optional side to the business, but can be really rewarding, especially when you are providing life-changing opportunities to others. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you all for your time. I'm going to stop the recording, but I will go ahead and do a Q&A